when you're going through a lot of changes in life, because that's essentially the transition, you can feel like it's chaotic. You can feel like everything is going crazy. But it's so important for your growth that you have to go through it. The only way out is through.
Welcome creators, artists, smart professionals, and all those ready to take action and create a passion-centered lifestyle. This is another episode of the Creative Action Podcast. I'm your host, Bruno Flow. Let's unlock greater levels of flow, freedom, and fulfillment together. Dear listener, today we are going to meet Youmie. She wears many hats: transformational speaker, brand consultant, and proud founder of Flex and Fly, an award-winning travel and wellness company. Outside of her personal brand, she loves to help small business owners and big corporations in improving their brand message and customer success, while also at the same time building and scaling their projects. She's a woman of different interests, fluent in 4 different languages, private pilot, and now the author of a new book released on this year 2024, The Sacrifice: When Transition Looks Like Chaos. A deeply personal and reflective work exploring themes of heartbreak, self-discovery, and healing. Dear listeners, this is Youmie. Let's dive into her personality and learn more about his own approach to taking creative action in her own life. So, pretty excited.
My cat wanted to make an introduction too. He felt very bad you didn't introduce my He was trying to walk through.
Was her name or his name? I don't know.
His name is Thomas.
Thomas. Oh, like a guy.
We call him Tomasino. Tomasino, yes.
Ah, Thomas.
He's here.
Yes, when I was looking at your website, there was this information about your cat that you are allergic to cat hair, but
I am allergic.
yeah, you are courageous, I think.
I'm crazy. Just like, first of all, I want to tell your listeners, thank you so much for your patience with me. You know, I was really sick. I'm still exhausted and tired. My body is getting better, but you were so patient. I absolutely adore you. Thank you so much for your patience.
No problem. For me, it's an honor to have you here because I wanted to share your story with the listeners of this podcast. Probably you know, but this podcast is made for creative people, for people that are trying to create something new in their lives, something in their own unique way. And I think you are a role model in that sense because you created your own life on your own terms, at least how I see it from outside. So I want to know more. Tell me more about this new project you're creating, about this book, because I think we can learn a lot about you from your creation.
Yeah. Oh my God. If I'm completely honest, the name of my book is called The Sacrifice: When Transition Looks Like Chaos. And for some reason, I wrote the book like in the span of 8 years, in my 20s. And now I'm in my late 30s. I feel like I'm in a transition again. Like for some reason, life is like asking me to grow up and show up in a different way that I am very uncomfortable. I feel very uncomfortable in my life right now, if I'm completely honest, because I feel like I'm being pushed to the front where when I would prefer to just run things in the back. And my book is such a vulnerable, honest book that I feel like that's enough. Like I don't need anything else. Please, I'm giving you the book. What else do you want?
Okay.
But for anyone that's ever gone through heartbreak, poverty, friendship breakups, trying to be a better person, trying to heal, trying to meet the version of you that you know exists, but you're not currently living. This book is for you, because when you're going through a lot of changes in life, because that's essentially the transition, You can feel like it's chaotic. You can feel like everything is going crazy. But it's so important for your growth that you have to go through it. The only way out is through. So I'm in a position now where I am learning to be okay with releasing my vulnerability and my fragility to the world.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and
Yeah, right?
I totally relate.
Just writing it.
I totally relate to what you're saying, especially when you talk about struggling on poverty. In example, I struggled with that my whole life, and that when uh, you come from a place like that, like your mind is not wired properly. It's like you're like scarcity mindset. You know, you see everything as difficult, and you are not even knowing that there is a different world outside your very scarce world. No, and
It's so true. When you've grown up without, because I'm originally from Haiti. It's a very poor country. We struggle a lot there. My mother brought me to this country at 6 years old, so she had to start completely over in a new country with no friends, with no family, and it was just me and her. So there were a lot of things where I had to take care of myself, learn a lot of things on my own. And when you don't have the proper base, the proper foundation,
mm,
you kind of you live in survival mode.
mm,
Like you don't really live life like everyone else. You're living life just trying to make it all the time. It's never like you're relaxed or you are enjoying something. It's more like everything has a reason.
yeah,
Everything has a purpose.
yes,
Everything, you know what I mean? That's so survival mode. And while that is a good thing in many ways, it can be really difficult for your overall growth. And I had to really work on my mindset to become who I am today because who I, how I was living back then did not live up to who I knew I could be.
yes,
So I was constantly battling. That is such a battle when you're living a life that you know isn't yours,
mm,
but you're living it, or a life that isn't satisfying to what you know you're worthy of. It's such a complex difficult thing because you know you want more, you're ambitious, you're willing to do the hard work, but there isn't, you're not making out of it. And like you feel like every time you step forward you take a step back. It's just like, how do I get what I want? And then when you live in a country like America, where people are like, oh, it's the land of anybody can make it here. Like,
yeah,
just come and you can have anything and everything. And like, that's just not the reality. The reality is there's more freedom here. But when you're an immigrant, you really start from the bottom. My mom had to start from the bottom. She was a teacher in her country, but when she came here, she had to learn the language, get a basic job, like, a minimum wage job. Her education didn't matter. They didn't value it. For me, I was young, so they thought because I didn't speak English originally, like, because I didn't speak English until I came to this country. It's my fourth language. They thought I was dumb, right? Schools thought I was dumb because I didn't speak the language, which is awful because language, it does not dictate how smart you are.
no, no,
It's
yeah, not fair, not fair,
so
definitely,
unfair. And then obviously, I'm a Black woman in an American country where there's a lot of racism, sexism, isms. Think of the
yeah,
isms.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know them well. There's those factors, right? And then there's the factors that I can't really control, and then the factors that I can. So learning to like myself, learning that the life that I was living didn't fit the life that I knew I deserved, was something that I had to fight against. And I'm so happy that I was able to put up a fight because it's not easy. But I'm out of it. You get to the other side.
Yes, yes, and I'm very curious about these words that you use when you speak because you talk about fighting, you know, and I also resonate with that because I am a Muay Thai fighter. I love martial arts, and I that kind of, you know, it's my own way of moving forward. I have this strength inside me. Like I get angry and I use that anger to move forward because I don't know, it's energy I have inside me, and
Yes.
I fight, and I feel realized while doing that. I don't know
You can
why.
see aggression. Yes.
Yes, it's strange. Also, I was curious about this word that you use in your book, which is the title of the book. It's the sacrifice. So,
Yeah.
why did you pick that name on your book?
Ooh. I was thinking about what you have to give up to get the life that you want. That's why I named it The Sacrifice. And actually, when you get the book, you will see because it's a poetry and prose book. It's an easy read. So you won't be there forever, it's just life lessons and quotes. But you will see what happened, what God told me, because this is also a spiritual book for me.
Mm.
What God told me that made it the sacrifice. So I can't give that away. But I knew that the sacrifice was me no longer doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different life. And so, in order for me to really have the life that I genuinely want, that I genuinely felt like I deserved, I had to give up some things. And those were the sacrifices. And when transition looks like chaos, is the fact that when you make that sacrifice, it's not all smooth and like, great, your life is perfect. Here's everything you want.
Yes.
When you choose to make hard decisions in your life, you're going to be challenged to see if it's really what you want. You're going to be challenged to see if you really can continue and do the things that you say that you're going to do. You're going to be challenged in that way. And life has a way of challenging you that can make you feel crippled. And when you feel crippled, you just feel like you feel chaotic. You feel like nothing is working. Nothing is in my favor. Like, how am I going to get out of this? Who's going to help me?
Yes.
Because my mother and I came to this country on our own. We're not the closest. You know what I mean? We don't have a very strong, close relationship. So I raised myself for the most part of my life. So I had so much of my life in the transition. There were so many times where I could have been a victim to my childhood. I could have been a victim, a proper victim. I had every right. I was certainly a victim in many instances in my life, and not just my mother, but just life experiences
Yes.
when you're a child, when you're a teenager. There were so many instances where I was the victim, but I could not let that paralyze me. And when you are in a transition, it's really easy for you to be like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, like, please, look what it is.
Give me a break, man. Give me a break.
Give me a break, huh? Like, can I just eat? Can I not have to pick between eating and my pets eating? You know? It was either one cup of noodles and I had to eat or my dogs were eating and I would split it.
So, it's a lot of good points you are making on everything you are saying,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to digest everything. And you told me about, when I asked you about the sacrifice, you told me about that in order to move forward, with your life
Yeah.
to the place you deserve, you thought you deserve, you felt it in a visceral way. Like this is not who I am. I am that thing in my
I'm back.
mind. Yes.
Yes.
But
Yes.
there are a lot of people that also feel this way, but
Yeah.
somehow they don't find the right key to move forward, and they don't know how it looks. Because
Yeah.
sometimes they think that it's because you need to be talented. In example, it's
Yeah.
the example. You
Yeah.
need to be talented, because if you're not talented, you are in the same place. You will be in the same place for your whole life. It's just how it is, and they accept that,
Yeah.
and that's it. That's one of the narratives. But in your case, you are saying something very important. You had to make sacrifice, and I think that there are a lot of people that are not willing to make sacrifice, or don't know how it looks to make a sacrifice for something you love or something you think you deserve. So
Yeah.
I was curious about what, maybe it's too personal, I don't know, but how was your sacrifice? What did you had to sacrifice?
Oh, there were so many things I had to sacrifice. I had to sacrifice my apartment. I had to sacrifice relationships. I had to sacrifice, my ego, right? That's the hard one.
That's a hard one. Yes.
That's the hardest one.
Yeah, like
Um,
like this thing that you want to preserve your image all the time. Oh, no, I'm this good guy that does this thing, and that's
yeah,
one.
like I have it all together. I'm okay. I don't need any help, right?
Mm,
I had to sacrifice my the way I thought, because I think that sometimes when you are in misery, when you are in pain, when you are in a transition, the way you think can keep you there longer than it needs to.
mm,
And for me, spiritually, I had to start saying what God said about me and not what I thought about myself, because I couldn't trust myself.
mm.
You get in positions in life sometimes because you know what? I want whoever's listening to this to not think of this as a motivation thing.
Yeah.
This, because motivation won't go where discipline will. Okay? There are certain things that motivation is so momentary, right? Like it's not permanent. But discipline can be. And it is what you need to get to the next step in many areas in your life. For me, I am a very disciplined person by nature, and I had to get a parent. And for me, my parent became spiritual. It was my relationship with God that helped me start thinking differently, start thinking about abundance and money differently. That helped me start recognizing that not everyone was against me. That made me really
Yes.
learn that there are so many good people in this world that's willing to help and support me. Like, um, my relationship with God also taught me boundaries about how to walk away from people that would take that away from me, that would violate me, that would not understand me. My relationship with God also made me disciplined to say, no, I'm not going out and I'm not spending any money for the next month, because I want to learn how to start saving, because that wasn't something I was taught, right? So for me, it was me becoming a Christian and really cultivating an intimate relationship with God so that my ego could surrender. Because I had the biggest ego and it wasn't surrendering to anything or anybody.
Yes, yes, and
Because you get so prideful when you're angry. A lot of people don't recognize that when you're angry, you get so prideful. Like, or you feel like something's taken away from you. You get so prideful. You don't want people to see you in a certain way. You don't want people to
it's
look
not a
at you in a certain way.
flexible
Right,
energy. Definitely,
right.
it's an energy of, no, this is my thing, I this way, and I don't care. It's that kind of energy. And
It's
sometimes
that
it's
kind
good,
of
but
energy.
sometimes it's
And
not
like,
good.
yes, also I'm a Taurus, so I'm very stubborn. So,
Yes.
good luck. But I had to learn when it was okay to surrender.
Yeah.
I had to learn when it was okay to ask for help. I had to learn to say I'm sorry.
Oh,
That's still
yes.
that's still awful to say. I still hate
Yes.
that. I can't
Yes.
stand.
Yes, it's like each people has its own difficulties to say different declarations. Sometimes people have trouble saying yes. Others have trouble saying no. Others have trouble saying thank you or maybe forgive me.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Also, no, that's crazy. It depends on I don't know, maybe your upbringing or your story or what.
100%. 100% your upbringing. Absolutely.
For me,
I
it
think
was
childhood.
saying no. In example, for me, that was a big thing. Saying no, and because
Mhm.
I have a story of suffering bullying when I was a child, and
Mhm.
that's my explanation of why I was a people pleaser because I wanted to be accepted, and I had like this.
You were a people pleaser. You wanted to be accepted by everyone, liked by
Yes.
everyone.
So it's
Yeah.
like I learned to say no and I learned to leverage my own anger as a way
Mm.
of probably crafting a new version of myself, probably, or being able to move forward with my own values or my own goals or my own, and not always being trying to get accepted and not moving in a different direction because maybe I will get rejected or not going for what I want because I will get rejected. Also, that was a big thing for me. Also, so I wanted to say something because I was listening very carefully to what you were saying about God and your relationship with God. You say about your relationship with God, it was the key for you to make sacrifice. And what I get from it is something that it strikes me very in my heart right now, in what I'm going through right now, which is I'm trying to cultivate a relationship. I say relationship with reality. But it's the same, no? Reality, God is like the source of what's happening right now, no? And when what I'm trying to do is creating a trust relationship with reality. Like reality is on my side. Reality is taking care of me. Reality is
Mm.
giving me what I need to have right now in order to grow or to experience this gift of life, let's say. And what I'm seeing is that you also are into that, into creating this trust relationship with God and with reality. No? Maybe. What do you think?
Yeah. I think for me, I think that God is very different from reality. Because the way that I imagine it is nothing is done, nothing is approved, nothing is allowed without God saying, okay, you can exist, okay, you can
Yeah, yeah,
happen,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
you can do it. So for me, my relationship with God helped me grow as a human being in a way where I learned that it wasn't about me necessarily. Like, because when you're in it, it feels like it's all about you.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's only you. You're the only one. And I learned that God is not necessarily focused only on our comfortability, how comfortable we are in life, but more about how we grow and connect and support to each other, how how we're obedient and connect to each other because reality has taught us to be independent of each other. Reality
I get
has
it.
taught us to focus on the individuality aspects of our lives.
Yes.
Reality has put ourselves first. And so there has been less compassion, less thought about how someone is, because I think there's a difference between being a people pleaser and showing compassion to someone, right?
Yes.
I think there's a difference between being someone that want to make everyone happy and being able to listen well to someone, because I do think that's something that we all struggle with.
Yes.
I think God has taught me to listen better. God has taught me to allow myself to be fragile, because I never had the comfort. I never had the safe place to do that. And now
Ah.
see others that look like me, act like me, think like me, in whatever religion, whatever culture, whatever race they're in, I see them. I am so used to seeing other people for exactly who they are and where they are, and not judging them, because I know that person so well. Because if you're,
Yeah.
I think Mother Teresa, she said this quote that I absolutely love, where she says, if you're busy judging people, you have no time to love them.
Yes. That's
You know what I
nice.
mean? And I
Yes.
think that when we see people doing things that we don't like, we don't approve, or we think is or whatever, we judge those people so harshly, because we have been in positions in life where maybe we could have chosen that and we didn't. So we start looking at them like we're better than them. When people are going through difficult things in life, it is not our place to tell people we're better than them. It's an opportunity to be compassionate to their pain. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't boundaries, right? That
Of
doesn't
course.
mean you get to do whatever you want, because, there's always someone that doesn't listen. It doesn't mean that you let people do whatever they want. But when you see someone constantly choosing something that hurts them, clearly, clearly is deeper than them doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
It's stronger. There's a stronghold on them that's bigger than them not listening. It's hard to listen when you're in pain. It's hard to listen when you feel like the only way to release the pain is if you're not here. It's hard to listen to good advice, even if the advice is well meaning, when you feel like you don't deserve happiness. It's hard. And I think instead of being mean to people about the struggles they're going through, that many of us end up having to go through in different ways in our lives, in different periods in our lives, showing people compassion in the midst of their chaos, in the midst of their transition, is what will make better people. And I think many of us don't have the patience for that, because we've never gotten that from anyone. Most people, when we do bad, quote unquote, bad things, we're thrown away, we're
Yeah, yeah.
discarded. We're like, there's just such a way that we treat each other as if we can't even make up for things. I mean, look at cancel culture, and like everybody canceling everyone everywhere as if everyone is right. And if we really look at people, we know that we're all flawed in multiple ways, not just one. And sure, I'm not telling you to, if someone's killing and hurting children and doing that, there's places for people that need to go to certain things like that. Like, I'm not saying that compassion is without consequences. I'm not saying that grace is without consequences. I'm not saying grace also is without discipline. All of that can coexist together. But if we only are harsh towards each other when we're going through things, how do people even really see God? How do we really show God to people? That is because we can't really explain a lot of the kindness that exists in this world just off of people.
Yeah, you need to
How
be
do we
open
really
to
show
that,
God?
to experience that. I mean, in my case, it's not something that comes naturally to feel compassion, in example. I'm more
Yeah.
attracted to my art. In example, I love to be with my guitar, playing the guitar 3 hours without going out without eating, maybe. If it were because I don't know, I would not go anywhere. I would just stay with my thing all day, and it happens to me that sometimes I enter into monk mode, I say, and I don't go out for, oh no, weeks, because I'm doing my thing and I'm just doing that. I'm not thinking about the suffering of others, maybe, because I'm focused on my own process of creation, I don't know. But I realized that the compassion is something that opens your experience to a new quality of experience, because when you have your heart open and you can feel love and you can share love, it's better. It's basically better. It's better. You feel better. You feel more complete. You don't feel like you need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need you don't need more material stuff, because you're feeling you feel this acceptance, this love to yourself, to other people. And you are mixing everything in this conversation, because you are talking about compassion, you're talking about God, you're talking about discipline also, because for me, learning to love, it was work, it was discipline. It was, an example, in Buddhism, you have a practice which is called metta. Yeah, you know
I was just in Sri Lanka. I learned a lot about Buddhism. I was living in Sri Lanka for the last month.
Great, yes, in Sri Lanka, yes. I think it's Buddhism is like the most popular religion, I think.
Yeah, it's the most. It's number one,
Number one, yes. Well, metta is this like practice, or it's not a prayer exactly, but it's almost like a prayer in which you desire the well-being of other persons. Obviously, you can do it to yourself, to desire your own well-being, or you can desire the well-being of, I think there are three levels: the people you love, the people you are neutral, like you don't feel anything, but you desire well-being for that person that is neutral, and the last level, which is desiring well-being for your enemy. You say, okay, Adolf Hitler, I wish you to be on peace and to have a beautiful existence in the other world. I don't know. And it's crazy. How are you gonna? How do you get to that place of this desiring well-being to a person that is doing harm, maybe? And it sounds crazy, but that's the practice, and it opens your heart to a new level of experience and clarity. Also, as obviously you are seeing right now, this was your vehicle, this was your platform for transformation. This relationship with God, this practice of compassion, discipline, and well, everything you said before. And my mind is flying.
And my relationship with God is mine.
Of course.
I am not here to try to convert anyone. And I think that gave me a lot of freedom in the way that I live my life.
Of course.
I think that the way you operate in life and the way you treat people can either show God or it can show Satan. It's either or.
Okay.
I don't need, when I talk about God, it's because who doesn't talk about something they love? That's really, it's as far as it goes.
Okay.
I'm not here to try to make everyone turn into a Christian and all that type of stuff. I mean, of course, I'm going to be led by God. Like if I feel someone's spirit is like, whatever, we're going to have a talk. But that is not my priority in my life, because that is not something I'm trying to do. I'm not anyone's savior.
That's cool. So, that's a relief for a lot of people.
I like this much easier just living it. It's hard enough just living my own life. I'm not just trying to live your life either. You know what I mean? So I think it's really difficult. If you hear, I live in New York, so it's really loud and there's traffic outside today. So sorry if you guys hear any noise. But I think one of the hardest things I had to deal with was the heartbreak from God, because I don't think a lot of people talk about that either. When you have a relationship with God, the like we spoke earlier, having trust.
Yes.
Having trust, going to church, being church hurt. seeing how people aren't as consistent or as stable as you thought they were,
Hmm.
or not getting what you thought God would you deserve, and God didn't give it to you. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
all
It sounds like it's not fair. Let's say because no,
yeah,
well, this is not the right thing for me. I deserve something different. But you don't know that much. It seems. It seems that reality or God is giving you what you need. I noticed that you speak about God. And you are making a difference with reality. And when you speak about reality, you speak about like social conditioning and the system and all the things that they teach us from like being capitalism and all those values which are
yeah. Because to
very
me,
limited.
this isn't real.
Yeah.
Because as a spiritual person with God, like, this isn't even my world. This isn't even real. So the reality, my life is a reflection of what I believe. That's my reality.
Yeah.
You understand? My reality is what I believe, not necessarily what I'm looking at all the time,
I get
or what
it.
is my presence in the thing. My
I,
reality is based on my faith. And my faith is that not only am I an overcomer, not only am I going to be able to make it out of situations, I do think that compassion, leadership, discipline, all those things can coexist with my faith. So for me, the only time something is real is when my faith agrees with it.
okay.
So it's a bit different when and that doesn't mean that it's fake to everyone else. We're talking about me.
Yes, yes, of course.
Everyone else can have their own situation, but like, I think that there's a lot of people in this world that are conditioned to live their life based on reality, and they think, and that puts them in a place where they have no power. They think they have no power. They think they can't do anything about their life. That change is not possible for them. And there are circumstances in life that makes it much harder. Let's be very real. There are people in this world that experience things that I will never experience, in countries and cities and homes
There is
that I will
always
have
one person
never
having it
experienced.
worse. Always. Yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
And so the reality, though, of that is very real for them in many ways, and so I would never take that away from them. But like, in addition to that, my life is very different from that. And just talking about being a Black woman in America, and understanding the system here, right? Understanding what it's like to build a business, raise a business, and even though I could be doing the same thing as a man, I still get paid less. Like, there's just so much things that is unfair, and it's true. That isn't right, and it's true. But I'm still going to make my life the life that I desire, and the life that I know that I'm worthy of, because I can. What I do have power on, I focus on. What I don't have power over, I do not allow it to worry me. Because worry to me is just another way of praying to the devil.
And you left me wondering because when we start this conversation, you told me that you were going through some like also another transition because it's never ending. It's never ending.
Yes,
It's
it's
never ending.
not ending.
And you left me
Like,
wondering what is
please,
it.
Lord, leave me, please.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Give
the
me a
part.
break. Give me a break. And well, but that's a path of growth. No, obviously you're going to have growing pains and always. What would you say is your number one most pressing challenge right now in your path?
I think right now is just releasing this book,
Oh
because it's
yes,
such a vulnerable book. Um,
yes.
I own if your listeners don't know, I also run my own business.
Hmm.
I just have a lot on my plate at the same time, and I was hoping this year would be quieter in a way
Okay.
where I could do nothing. And
Hmm.
it's like, and God is like, no, this is what we're doing.
Interesting.
Um, I feel very, I'm getting older. I'm 38 years old, so I feel very, um, I feel very relaxed in my life. Like there's just a lot of things that I prioritize as like my peace is my number one thing.
Okay.
And so change is not easy for me. I just don't like change that much.
Okay.
I'm sure a lot of people do. I don't. And whenever there's a big change and God is asking me to put
Mm.
myself in the front, it just it's not what I want to do. And so I battle with what I want to do and what God tells me to do. And my word for the year is obedience.
Oh, interesting because I can have a like a feeling of how you see your reality and how you see God, and I feel like entering into your world when you talk about this, and it seems like you have this big purpose, no? And God is like
Mhm.
is saying to you, no, you should do this and that, which is the higher thing, and you have your ego like, oh no, I don't want that, you know,
Yeah,
and that's the path of
yeah.
growth because for you is God telling you this is the path, but for other person maybe it's not God. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they don't have that word.
Yeah, for somebody else, it may be the universe, the spirit,
Yes, but there's
whatever they believe
something
in.
inside, some intuition that is telling them,
Yes.
"Hey, what are you doing? This is not the right thing." It's like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
feel like
yeah.
that lingering thing, discomfort inside you, like I don't know. You are going to work every day and you feel like shit. You feel unmotivated and you feel like this is not good. This is something more intelligent, let's say, is saying to you that there is something that you need to change, you know, and that's
Yes.
where
Another sacrifice.
and that exactly that's the thing. Yeah, that's when you had to sacrifice, no,
Yes.
and you need to be
Yeah.
willing to sacrifice and take creative action. Let's mix everything together, no, which is the title of this podcast. That's the point.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and
I'm currently in that state again. And every time, when you've been there before, you're kind of like, I think I got the lesson. I'm okay. Let's not repeat it again. And
yeah,
God's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you done done it. Let's run it one more time.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
this time I have a bit more wisdom to not be impulsive with my feelings and lead them rather than having them lead me.
Okay, good. Like the reactive kind of state, you know, reacting to your own
Yes.
emotional states or your
No
own
more
thoughts.
reactive state. No more reactive state. No.
Oh, good. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's a practice also. I talk a lot about that on the podcast also about reactivity and how can you train yourself to not react that much, because it's something that especially right now in this technological society we live in, it's like we are surrounded by distraction and different objects appearing
Concerning,
everywhere.
yeah.
And how do you manage yourself to not react? What's your own recipe for this? What's your
I
own
I have a lot of wellness care. Like I read more than I watch anything. Like I don't have any television in my home.
goal?
I don't I have the internet obviously for work and I have one laptop, one phone. Um I usually stop working by 5 p.m., 3 p.m.
Mm,
daily because I wake up early. But I try not to consume, like, I'm not really on social media. I have a team that helps me with that. And I'm trying to come out and just say hi and then disappear. But I think I'm really good at being disciplined and limiting myself from consumption. I'm not really interested in consuming a lot of thoughts, a lot of things. Like I'm a person that will give and share and then leave. Like I don't need to consume too much though because I don't like to have everyone else's mind with
mm.
mine.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't want to. I've always been that person. I think learning about how you are as an individual, Bruno, how you're like, you used to struggle with people pleasing. I do not have that type of, I always used to say it's like this disease, this disease. I don't have a problem with people not liking me. I don't have a problem
Yeah.
with people thinking what they think about me, they're usually wrong. Like
I get
they're
it.
usually wrong. And I don't put myself in a place where I have to prove you wrong about me. I don't think you need to, I don't think I need to do that. I don't
That's
have to
interesting.
show you like, oh no, you're wrong about me. I'm actually nice. I am actually the type of person that will let people think what they want to think about me at any day, anytime. And then once they meet me, they recognize that they're wrong. Once they talk to me, they recognize that they're wrong. Or once they like or a big thing is many people's thoughts and assumptions about other people is a reflection of what they feel about themselves. It's never
That's
really about that person.
probably that's the core belief that helps you to maintain that distance between who you know you are and what other people think about you, because you know that
I
what
have a yes. I have
no.
a strong sense of who I am.
Yes. I can
I
see
am
that.
not.
Probably that's one of the core things, because normally it's difficult to get to that point of taking away all the shit, all the things that are not you, and recognizing very clearly what are you truly, what you truly are, and what other people think you truly are. Because it's different. It's
Right,
different. It's different.
right,
In some way,
right,
we are a result of that, no? In some way, but
right.
it's true that you cannot control the other part, yeah, as you said before, no? And I see you having a very clear distinction between what's on your control, who you are, versus what other people are thinking about you, and you cannot control, obviously.
I think most of us would be more successful, more happy, more wise if we stop thinking so much about how others see us and what other people will think about us.
Beautiful,
I
beautiful.
really do.
I,
I, I think if I tell anyone that, like, if I could tell you anything, your life would complete. That's a big way you'll see a big change in your life. And it doesn't mean that you have to be rude to people, because some people, when they don't know how to set boundaries, they go from 0 to 100. Like they go from one to, like, no, you don't have to like be like, no, you do to me, and you
yeah,
like,
too
because
much.
when people finding their voice,
Yes. You know,
I see that often in people that used to be, or that are people pleasers, or that start finding their own voice and want to create boundaries. Usually they have to be so like tough, and it's just like because people didn't respect their boundaries before, or
yes,
they felt like they didn't use their voice before, so they have to be extra tough. Like it's just it's just communication, like anything
yes.
else.
That's still a reaction,
Communicate,
no?
yeah. Communicate with people what you need. Communicate your needs. Communicate calmly. Communicate confidently, not rudely. Because there's a difference between being confident and being sure of who you are and being rude. And some people who are insecure will take it as rude because they would prefer you to talk to them in a certain way. But as long as you know that you're not being rude, you're not trying to hurt anyone, your intention are pure, you be yourself, because you're going to have to make others level up to meet up with who you are now. You can't stick around the same type of people that want to keep you in one way, that prefer you in one way. Who you are now is going to require other people to level up, and that will require you to communicate with them. Like, actually, I don't like that anymore. I know I used to be cool with you saying that like that, but that was because I was uncomfortable expressing myself. I'm comfortable expressing myself now. I don't like when you do that, and I'd appreciate if you stop. It's as easy as that.
Yeah. But
You
it's
see?
also being willing to get rejected, because when you put boundaries, when you set boundaries,
Yes.
probably the
Yes.
other person will not like it, and he will not like what
They
you're
don't
saying.
like it.
And for me,
Don't
my
like it because they're not used to you that way. People get used to people in a certain way, and they think that those people should be that way forever, and that's unfair. It's like people that be like, this is how you are all the time and all that type of stuff. And then you try to tell them like, no, actually, I'm not that anymore. And they're like, that's who you are. And it's like, okay, I'm going to tell me who I am.
You know what? It's like, for me, it was like getting rejected was the cure.
The worst thing in the world, right?
Was the worst thing in the world, but was the cure. It cured me. It healed me to get rejected like the worst way, the worst cruel way that you can ever imagine. That was my way of creating that distinction between who I am and what other things I am. Because I started noticing, okay, this person is rejecting me. At first, it was hurting me a lot, but the time number, I don't know, 20th time after 50 times, I stopped feeling anything because, hey, okay, it's her thought. Okay, that's it. But this is something that is not easy because it's not something that you can, like that, stop caring about it. No, it's something you need to expose yourself to suffering and pain of getting rejected. No, and it's because I'm thinking about the listener. No, maybe the listener is not enjoying this kind of self-awareness in which it doesn't care about what other things about him. Maybe he's really reacting to what other people are thinking and is actively trying to predict what other person is thinking in real time. That takes a lot of energy. That takes a lot of your life basically, attention obviously. So yes. I wanted to ask you because I think your book, I didn't have the opportunity to read it before this meeting, but I
have to send it. I have to send it to you because you're in Argentina, you know.
Yes, I was looking if I could find like some kind of summary or something. I found some summaries and I think it's pretty interesting.
I'm gonna send you it and not as the book, but like I'll send you the manuscript so you could read it.
Okay, thank you.
I'll send it to you tonight. Yeah.
Okay,
You'll be one of the first people.
That would be great. And I wanted to ask you to say to our listeners, how can they find your book and how can they leave you a 5-star review?
Oh my gosh, please.
Yes, let's do it.
Interested in supporting my new journey and this transition.
Yes.
Please go to hernameisyoumie.com. That's HernameIsYoumie.com. Hernameisyoumie.com is my personal website, and you'll get all the information about me. If you want to follow me on social media, you can find me at hernameisyoumie on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, which is where I met my amazing Bruno.
we meet each other there. That was a beautiful coincidence.
The best thing ever.
Yes.
And you can go to Amazon.com, Goodreads.com, Bookshop, Barnes and Nobles, Walmart, and leave us a review on the book. Leave us 5 stars. Just support, because my goal, Bruno, I didn't tell you, my goal is to get 100,000 readers and buyers of my book by next year.
Okay,
March
great.
2025.
That's it.
So any support anywhere. It's an easy read. It's available ebook as well as a hardcover copy. And you would be supporting me. Let me just tell you, authors, they take a lot of money from us. Okay, from that $24, I make maybe $5. So there's a lot of stuff when it comes to writing and creating books and all that type of stuff. So if you see my book and it served you and helped you heal in any way, please leave a good review and get a copy for someone you love or someone you want to love.
I got really interested in your own creative process for that book also, but probably that's for another episode because it will take like another hour. How does it look to create something like that, a work like that?
Awful. powerful. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I want to be honest. When you're writing something and it's so deeply personal, it can bring up a lot of things. A
Oh,
lot of things you think you were healed from, a lot of things that you thought you were safe from. And, I've cried so many tears reading the manuscript over and over. I've cried so many tears over the history of things that happened like 8 years
yes,
ago.
yeah, you
Like it's
reconnect
been
with
a
the
long
story.
time. But your heart remembers everything,
Hmm.
and the body keeps the score for sure. And even if you are in a better place, um, at least for me, also like with my book, I it's not the things that I talk about when it comes to friendship, heartbreak, family. It's not really about those people. It's
No,
about
of
me.
course.
The book is about me. I mean, you happen to play a role in my life, but the book is about me.
Hmm.
It's about me and my way of processing, my way of healing, my way of understanding
Hmm.
things. It's not, no one is a bad guy in my book. They just played their position in my life.
Hmm. And I invite you, listener, that you are on the other side, I invite you to support Youmie on this project, to leave a 5-star review, to, if maybe you're, yeah, to connect with Youmie, because if you're going through some transition, one very good way of moving forward through the transition is to connect with other people that also went through that kind of process, and to learn in first person, with first hand experience, connecting with them. And in my experience, it was one way of gathering strength and motivation. Sometimes, like having role models of people that went through the things that I was experiencing, all the difficulties. So, Youmie, from this side, I'm truly honored for this moment we shared together, for your trust.
You know.
Yes, I'm truly honored, and I think we have a lot in common. And I hope this is not the last episode we do together.
Oh no, absolutely not. You're so amazing and you're very inspiring. And I love how outgoing you are. I love your podcast. Thank you for creating it. I know it's going to be so successful. I know it's going to help so many people.
I hope. I
Don't
hope.
stop, keep going. There's so many people that need it. So thank you so much for creating, and thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Well, this was an excellent episode. This was an excellent episode. Okay, Youmie, see you next time then.
See
Yeah.
you, Bruno.
See you.
We
See you.
don't talk about Bruno. No.
Yeah, I know.
We don't talk about
Everyone,
Bruno. No.
everyone's doing that. I know.
You've never heard that before, Bruno.